The Belmere Hotel was never meant to last a century. It stood on the edge of the old highway, surrounded by skeletal pines, its brick walls dulled by years of storms. Once it had been a proud traveler's stop between towns. Now it was a relic, half forgotten, except by those who never checked out. Daniel Pierce arrived one November evening, rain slicking his coat, the neon sign above the door flickering Belmere Hotel. He was a travel photographer chasing ruins and forgotten places. The Belmere, with its half-shuttered windows and empty dining hall, seemed perfect. The woman at the front desk, thin, polite, with a smile that never reached her eyes, handed him a brass key. "Room 313, she said. "End of the hall, top floor. Please don't open the window, it's unstable." Her hesitation struck him as odd, but he nodded. Understood. The room 313 smelled faintly of dust and lavender. The wallpaper peeled near the ceiling, and the lamp buzzed with a dying filament. The window, a tall sash frame, was draped in heavy red curtains. He could hear the wind beyond it, a constant low sigh. He unpacked his camera, took a few shots of the room, and then sat on the bed to check his photos. When he looked up, the curtains were swaying slightly. The window was closed. He thought little of it until he saw something in the reflection of the mirror. A faint, pale shape standing behind the curtains. A person's outline, still as stone. Daniel froze. Then, forcing a laugh at his nerves, he went to the window. He pulled the curtains back. Nothing there. Only the glass pane, streaked with rain, and his own pale face staring back. But when he looked closer, he realized his reflection was not quite aligned. His own face looked back at him a half-second late. The photograph. The next morning the storm had cleared. Daniel decided to photograph the hallway. Its peeling paint, the dusty chandeliers, the faint smell of age. When he reviewed the photos on his camera, his stomach turned. In each shot, the end of the corridor, where room 313 stood, showed a figure standing in the doorway. A woman in a long gray dress, her hair wet, her head slightly tilted. In the next frame, she was gone. He hurried downstairs to show the photos to the clerk, but when he reached the desk, the woman was nowhere to be seen. Only an old ledger sat open, filled with names and faded ink. He flipped through until he found the last written entry. Daniel Pierce, room 313, check-in November 7th, 1982. He frowned. That wasn't right. It was 2025. The story that night, the clerk returned, silent behind the counter. When Daniel asked her about the ledger, she met his eyes for the first time. "Room 313 shouldn't be rented," she said quietly. "That room was sealed after the accident." "What accident?" "The window," she whispered. "A woman jumped from it. Or something pulled her." No one ever agreed on which he wanted to leave right then, but the storm had returned, thrashing the glass doors. She slid the key toward him again. "Stay in another room," she said. "Just not 313. The knock at midnight, Daniel woke to knocking. Not at the door, but at the window. 3 soft knocks. Then again. He sat up, pulse hammering. The curtains rippled slightly, though the air in the room was still. He reached for his camera, trembling. The lens caught the faintest outline of a face pressed against the glass. Eyes open wide, lips moving soundlessly. Then the glass bulged inward, as though the person were trying to climb through from the other side. He ran for the door, but it wouldn't open. His reflection in the mirror turned towards him, a moment before he moved, its mouth opening in a silent scream. The last thing Daniel remembered was the window shattering. Then, nothing. Epilogue. Weeks later, when the police finally entered the Belmere, they found room 313 empty. The glass was unbroken, but on the inside of the window pane, there were handprints, pressed from within.
On the nightstand sat a camera, still recording. The final image showed the reflection of a man standing in front of the window. Only, there was no one in the room.